Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're watching this video from. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Aching, and for today's video I am going to make, you already know it, one of my favorite snacks, and it is Mahamri. It's a Kenyan delicacy. It's also similar to beignets, but with Mahamris today I'm going to use a spice blend of cloves, cardamom, and tea masala. I know in my previous video I did make puffs and I used tea masala as the spice, but today I'm going to make the Mahamris. And if you've been watching my videos, I did set a goal for myself to perfect my recipe for Mahamris. I love Mahamris. They are amazing snacks. You can have them in the fridge. You can eat them when you do not have anything to eat or while you're cooking. It really comes in handy, and I just love making a bunch. Sometimes I make it for my sister, sometimes I make it for myself, and I just like having a bunch in the fridge or in the house just for a snack when I need it. So today that is what I'm going to make. Please guys, do not forget to subscribe. We need 1,000 subscribers, and hit the like button and also the notification button, and you'll be notified when I post more videos. So walk through with me through this journey. Let me know in the comments below what you think about my recipe. I'm not good at measuring exactly. I am working on it, but I'm just going to walk you through the ingredients that I'm using and the process that I take. But one thing that I've learned with Mahamri is, since I'm using yeast, you have to give it time to rest. Proofing time is very important. I'm still perfecting my recipe, but that is one thing that I'm learning. Patience and making sure that the dough is in a warm environment. The other issue or challenge that I've been having is it's winter over here. It's cold, not too winter, but it is in the cold season, and yeast likes a warm environment. So what I do for my recipe, I warm up the mixture of coconut milk and milk, just to kind of give the yeast a good environment that it loves to thrive in. So anyway guys, let's get to the video, and do not forget to subscribe. Thank you. So now I'm going to begin with our dry ingredients. For this recipe, I will be using 2.5 cups of flour. Going to sift the flour here, just to make sure I get rid of the lumps. Number 2. I'm using 2.5 cups for this recipe. Depending on the amount that you want to make, you can use 2 cups, 1 cup, or 3 cups, just depends. This, and then I am going to follow with sugar, and I'm using 1/2 cup of sugar. I do not like a lot of sugar, so 1/2 cup for me is enough. You can definitely personalize it how you want it. And then after that, I'm going to add my spice blend. I have cardamom, cloves, and tea masala. It's about 1 tablespoon, I would say. So I'm going to add it here. And blend. And I actually like a little bit more spice, so I'm going to add a little bit more of the cardamom. I usually just blend the cardamoms and kind of package them like this, so I'm going to add just a little bit. I like the spice on my Mahamris. You can add, or you can use less spice depending on your taste buds. works better. And then now I'm going to add my rapid instance yeast. I would say the amount here is about one tablespoon. Let me see. Yep, almost 1 tablespoon. So I'm going to add a little bit more. I always have them in these sachets. Just make it easier for myself. Yep. That completes it to 1 tablespoon. So I have my flour sifted, and then I have the spice, I have the sugar, and I have the yeast. So I'm going to add a pinch of salt, just a little, as you can see. And that is ready. So now what I'm going to do, I have butter, and butter is very important because it makes your mahamris very smooth. So I'm going to grab some butter. I'm using unsalted butter. It's always safe to use unsalted butter because as you can see, we already added some salt. So when you use unsalted butter, it gives you room to add salt to your blend. So I'm just going to use 1 tablespoon for this. And what I'm going to do with this butter is blend into the flour. Blend it really nice. And then I'm going to add the mixture of coconut milk and milk that I've already warmed. It's already hot. I warmed it a little bit. It's not cold and it's not too hot. It's just a good temperature. And then I have extra milk right here that is warmed just in case I run out of my mixture. So now what I'm going to do is just blend this butter to the flour. Make sure it's blended all the way, using my hands, of course. And I like using just one hand, my dominant hand, so that the other one is clean, that I can use to add the mixture as needed. So I'm going to take my time, just make sure that the butter is blended all the way with the flour. Making sure I get rid of all the lumps. Okay. I think that's good for now. Awesome. So now that that is complete, I am going to go ahead and add my mixture. This is a mixture of coconut milk and milk, and it is warm. I'm going to add one, just a little amount at a time. You do not want to add too much liquid, and then now you have to start adding more flour to your mixture. So with this one, I prepared about 1 cup of mixture of milk and coconut milk. So you can see the dough is almost forming, almost there. And you want the dough not to be too soft and not to be too hard. Yeah, it's almost ready for mixing, just a little pinch. Okay, now it's ready. I'm going to make sure all of the flour is blended. As you can see, it's all blended. So what we are going to do, now that the dough has formed, the next step will be to clear our working station. Because I am going to use this mat right here. Oops. I'm going to use this mat right here to continue with the blend. I'm going to set this bowl aside right here. I'm going to use it later. So here we need to really work on the dough for about 4 to 5 minutes. Let me say 3 to 5 minutes. And we will be adding some butter. So I'm adding another tablespoon of butter. And what we are going to do, we are going to have to work on this until the dough becomes a little bit elastic, like it kind of patches back once you press on it. So you have, this part is very, very important. And as you're working on it, I like using this mat because it helps me really, it gives me a good surface resistance. And as you can see, the dough is really absorbing the batter. So you want to work on it until your dough is, it bounces back when you press on it. That's when you know that it's ready. I would say this is the step for Mahamri making that you're really going to have to work on your muscles. So it is forming. As you can see, it has absorbed all of the batter. Keep on turning. Gotta take your time here. And also you want to be careful with the amount of butter that you add. You do not want to add too much butter. You just want to add the right amount of butter. So in total here I've used 2 tablespoons of butter. and that is enough. The first tablespoon was during the first part, and then now the second one is during the second part of forming the dough. So the dough is, I can already feel it is bouncing back. That means it's just almost to be ready. Okay, so we are good. As I press it right here, as you can see, it forms back. It's forming back. That is good. So I'm going to just add a little bit more. Okay, so as you can see, when I press it like that, it springs back. That means it's ready. So our dough is ready. This is the size that we have right now, but we are going to set it, and using the same bowl that I used, what I'm going to do, I'm going to spread some oil around the bowl so it does not stick. So I have my oil spray bottle. Going to spread the oil, just using the same bowl. This is to prevent the, well, as the dough rises, to prevent it from sticking. So this is our dough. I'm going to cover this. We need the yeast to have a warm environment. And then I'm going to place this in the proofing door. I use my oven basically, but I just put it inside there, and I'm going to let this sit for 3 hours because, like I said, it's kind of cold right now, so I'm trying to get as much heat as I can, and I'm just going to give the yeast enough time to just do its work. So we'll let that rest, and then we'll proceed to the next step. Our dough is ready. As you can see, it has doubled in size. So what I'm going to do is just hit it to deflate it. Then I'm going to place this on the side. Just going to add some flour. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut this dough, divide it into big pieces. About that size. Our Mahamris are going to be big in size. That's why I'm cutting this into big pieces. So I'm going to set them here. I'm going to add this here. The sizes do not need to be perfect, but you know, as long as you divide them into pieces, that's the most important thing. So now I am going to form a shape, just a round shape. And I'm not going to make it too thin. I'm going to have about this amount of thickness. Just do that a little bit. Awesome. And then I'm going to cut it into 4 pieces, and that's what unique or different about Mahamris. It's the shape that it forms. And already I have this surface right here. I'm going to flour it, sprinkle with flour, and that is where our this pieces of dough, soon to be Mahamris, are going to rest, because we're going to let it sit for some few minutes for it to rise again. So remember at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that one thing I'm learning about Mahamris, making Mahamris, since you're working with yeast, you have to be very patient and give the yeast enough time to do its work. I'm going to cut this into pieces like that. And of course, while I do this, I have our oil on the stove already. You do not want your oil to be too hot or not too hot. You want it to be medium low in terms of temperature, because the Mahamris, you want to make sure that the inside dough cooks. I'm good with that. Just going to work on the last one. It into 4 pieces and set it aside to rest. I'm going to clean my station. So as you can see, we have our pieces ready. What we are going to do now, we are going to let them rest. I'm going to cover it with this towel right here so it can proof longer. So we're going to let it sit for about 20 to 30 minutes, or you can leave it half the time and do it 15 minutes, but I'm going to leave it for 30 minutes and then we're going to fry. So we have our oil ready, and as you can see, our dough has risen. It has doubled in size. So now we are going to proceed with frying them. So you can see it has risen. Going to add, and the oil here is about the temperature is about medium, not too hot and not too cold, because we're trying to make sure that the dough inside cooks well. So you have to make sure the temperature is just medium low. And for the first round, usually I will add a small batch just to give it time to see how the temperature is, and then I will adjust as I go. So our Mahamris are rising, and that is exactly what you want to see. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to turn them the other side. And I'm going to make sure this side just cooks before I remove them and add the next batch. So our first batch is ready. As you can see, we have the rice that we want, and I like them to be browned up to this level. So I'm going to remove that one, set it here so the extra oil can drip, and then add our second batch. So this is our last batch. You can see it is in the color that I want. Just going to scoop all of it up. There you go. Here so we can see the results of our Mahamris. I usually like leaving them on this rack so they can just like for the excess oil to drip. As you can see, guys, here are Mahamris. It is really cooked inside. It's not too doughy. We're going to let this rest and then we'll be ready to serve. So this is our finished products. Our Mahamris are ready. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and do not forget to subscribe. Until next time.